Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you for the April event in DBD Competitive, hosted by DBD League here in the cooperation with the Wolfpack. So good to see you today for the opening of the main stage. It's going to be round one of this event, which has some unique ideas. We do see a little bit of a different balancing, a little bit of a different rule set. Overall, a little bit of a different challenge, and therefore we are really hyped to welcome you all today. With me, a wonderful guest known in the competitive scene, has a huge name and has so many great ideas whenever he's on the table. So Mathiiis, my friend, how are you doing today?
A wonderful hello everybody, to especially you, Dyer, and hello, howdy, kukusiki to all our beautiful viewers from around the world. We are now finally kicking off Beyond the Stars. We are now starting today the main stage, round one. We are unfortunately going to have to stream on Slowgaleo's channel today because of some technical difficulties. We will have to postpone the launch on the DBD League Twitch channel for a bit. Is most likely going to start off tomorrow, but we will see. It's definitely going to take the switch here, and we have got some fantastic teams here playing today. It's going to be a very exciting first day of the tournament. As I said already, we're starting now with the main stage with round one. We have had a qualification stage and the due to the laws of survival of the fittest, we've now got the teams here that have performed the most consistently in the past now, and we are going to start off here with some very well-known teams that have a lot of experience on their hand, and especially the players here. You are going to have a couple names here that all of you are very familiar with.
Yeah, you mentioned the names and the teams that have made it through in the main stage. Let's go into this very first matchup here when we are talking about those names. It's going to be Sequence, one of the teams that has just smashed the competitive scene lately, coming in with wins from Dead by Esports, great placements wherever event they are playing in. So we do see Rene, iPick, and Killjet, all these great names out there in the competitive scene, facing the killer of Team Swamp here on the Groaning Storehouse. Swamp, a team that has recently formed but has a lot of known people on the roster as well here. And talking a little bit while we see that the players are getting ready here about the Groaning Storehouse, and considering that they have chosen the Demogorgon, the Executioner, and the Hillbilly, so basically more classic M1s on a large map. Would you say this is a great challenge to test who's the one moving forward to round number two?
This is definitely going to be very close between these teams as we M1 killers. It can really go both ways here. So, of course, the RNG that is pre-decided for these teams here will play a huge part in the result of these first sets here. But Sequence has so far pushed through especially the M1 sets quite consistently, and as you already said, smashed the competition here. And Sequence are definitely coming in as one of the few fan favorites one of the many fan favorites we have in this tournament. But they have been struggling a bit recently against the likes of Millennium, so it's going to be very interesting if they can keep their streak of consistency up here, or they will struggle once again as they did a few times in the past. And Swamp, as you also mentioned, are a rather new team that I have personally not seen much so far off, and so I'm especially excited to witness one of the new faces trying to prove themselves here. But I am very familiar with some of the players that are on these teams, especially Sequence. We've seen them compete for at least half a year. But that is going to be it for the introduction, and we will load into the first game here on the Groaning Storehouse very soon. Until then, we will have a short break and ask you to stand by.
Welcome in, everybody, to this very first trial here between Team Sequence on the Survivor side and Swamp coming out as killer Anlay chose the Demogorgon for his team, is already making sure that the main building is becoming a little bit weaker by breaking this breakable wall here. So removing the resources as early as possible, while we do see the first chase being taken at this T&L wall. This is not the safest space, but we have seen Sequence survivors turning the most dangerous tiles into a really, really strong one. We do see the chase coming out here, already taking 60 seconds into the trial, so a good start for Team Secrets, now leading into the first M1 into this trial. You have the injury here. We do see that Corrupt Intervention is not doing the best job for our killer here, is a little bit split here, while we do see a filler pallet being dropped in the mid of the map here, going into this main building now. So you do drag the killer into the corner of the Groaning Storehouse here, allowing your teammates to attack these generators. Volt coming in at the window, no shred attack just yet, and barely missing the survivor, but this is going to be some distance and some time, and this might be a great value for Team Sequence here, knowing they are efficient in the trial. Our survivor also holding W towards the other corrupted generators, so far it seems like Sequence exactly knowing what they have to do here.
Yeah, Ainley is already trying to exert a lot of pressure onto these survivors of Team Sequence here, and we are once again going to see the typical combination of Barb's glasses and of course the Blackheart, which are going to help out tremendously in chase. We're now going to see the first survivor, Valantis. I'm pretty sure that is Seer going down in the edge of the map, and we see Ipic running in here. The Felix trying to assert dominance, and I'm very certain we know exactly what type of builds he's using. If you have watched games previously, and we get 3 checkpops at the same time. We of course also get that rank revealed here, but the survivors of Team Sequence just showing what they are made of here. This is just absolutely phenomenal. I don't think Ainley has a hook nearby here. I think Ipic came in with a Sabo play on this hook, so Ainley has absolutely no hook anywhere nearby the water tower, and that is going to be so difficult for the survivors. We're gonna see Ipic come in again with that breakout. We see that haste status on Ipic takes the hit, and we're gonna see the wiggle off right away. Since Ainley has already dropped the survivor, the wiggle bar has already progressed quite a ton, and we see that first time the first down that Ainley previously claimed already wiggling off straight away, and finds it back to the middle of the map where we still have a lot of resources left. So Ainley is going to struggle tremendously against these survivors, and a phenomenal sidestep here by Valantis. Ipic and Valantis just taking up so much time from Ainley here, and we might even see a zero-state performance here if Sequence keeps this up.
Yeah, absolutely impressive. Like, when they were going into the map corner and Ipic came in there, I was like, is Sequence doing what they are known for? But they really pulled it off here, and then finishing it with the 3 generators, and now still using these filler pallets in the midsection for a phenomenal chase into the stun here. Generator number 4 coming out as well. So very soon we might move into the end game here, back to the T&L wall. We have been here on the start of the match, so we are making a travel across the entire Groaning Storehouse. At this point, and just when the shred attack is about to come through, Feng coming and taking a hit for the teammate. This allows our survivor to hold W next to the shack here into the next area of the map. Might make it to the next trial. It's going to be difficult, but 5 generators just for this down. Therefore, we do see a phenomenal performance and a huge chance for Team Sequence to take a ton of stages out of the door here as No Way Out. The perk that is supposed to slow down the end game a little bit has already expired, and we do see one of these doors being cross-map. So if Sequence is already on these gates, they're taking all 9 stages out of the door here.
Yeah, I gotta point out, this is quite possibly the first time I've ever seen a killer not get a single No Way Out stack, which means that No Way Out is only going to last for 12 seconds and is not going to get any extra 12 seconds from the individual downs here. I think it's gonna be the next one in chase, but dodges that shred right away. So Andy will most likely have to abandon this chase, and no, they are going to commit. We see that Rancor is still being induced, but it's going to be killed. That is the obsession. So chasing Ipic is not going to do much for Ainley here, as this survivor will have to be hit twice and then also hooked, whereas Killjet would be the one shot and the Mario right on the spot. Ainley was also using Pop Goes the Weasel throughout the game, but very evidently was unfortunately not able to get any value out of it. And as there is no Noah being used, and instead Noah out, Killchat is going, they take, oh my god, we just see Renee taking the obsession there with 4 other people, and Killchat loses the obsession last second, and it's not going to be Killchat who is exposed. That was a matter of milliseconds that just made the difference. That is absolutely unbelievable. I've never seen a play timed that specifically down to the millisecond sequence, which was an absolutely dominant and incredible performance coming into the first set here, coming to the first game here on their survivor side with Demogorgon. Renee still has the track bullet up, so I doubt Ainley is going to have a nice, have an easy time in the chase here.
Yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of struggle. You're on the shack, meanwhile the survivor's moving in, just take this you're breaking, and now they are moving towards the gate. They're near, protected by the team, and there's a celebration coming in at the door with the firecrackers. So this is going to be tag on the teammate, and 4 sequence survivors, one after one, leaving the trial here, going out of the door. What an opening match from Team Sequence. And Mathiiis, this makes me going back to one sentence you used in our introduction earlier. You said Sequence struggled lately, and Sequence was on a little break. Seeing how they played here, it seems like this break never affected them in any way.
Oh, I'm still trying to process this game. That was one of the most ludicrous performances I've ever seen. What a roller coaster of emotion that Sequence just portrayed in this game, with the timing down to the millisecond, with that play on the exit gate and the 4 other people by Killchat. That was just absolutely unbelievable. That is beyond anything I've seen in a very, very long time. The coordination with this new roster as well. We don't even see Exise on the main roster, who's known as one of their best survivors on the roster and most consistent performers as well. We're instead going to see a new face on the team, and they immediately perform this well with such good coordination. That is beyond unbelievable.
Given the tournament name, we could say this performance was potentially beyond the stars, but I have to agree. I have to agree. Sequence played phenomenal here. Team Swamp is going to be under a lot of pressure here, and they do have to play a perfect killing from the absolute start, and therefore we're just going to find out what Team Swamp has as an answer here on the survivor side. We're going to find that out straight after a little break.
Hello everybody, and we are back from the Balloomba team test, now back into the game. We've now got Sequence's killer Essential representing his team now against the likes or the survivors of Team Swamp on the Groaning Starhouse, now with the Pyramid Head, as we just saw the what's the killer's name that we just saw? I have been Demogorgon, that's the killer. The killer's map has been removed, and now I already forgot about the name. That is just unbelievable. Anyway, we just saw an absolutely breathtaking performance by Sequence's survivors, so it is going to be extremely challenging for the survivors of Team Swamp to rival this performance that we just witnessed, with Sequence acquiring a 1 stage on their survivor side, which is with a sour play, with a perfectly timed down to the millisecond, with the obsession transfer to counter a Rancor play at the end, which is just absolutely unbelievable. And now we've got their killer playing Pyramid Head on the Groaning Storehouse, and of course I will be casting this game with Dir3Wolf.
Hello, welcome back. You just listed the great plays by Team Sequence, right? And the list of Team Swamp needs to be even longer. This first chase with our David is going quite good. You're taking 90 seconds from the killer already here, so every individually attacked generator will be completed very, very soon. Meanwhile, Claudette taking the next one, takes a hit at the window here, but that's going to be a lot of distance for her as well. Essential just going after the survivor, now doubling back, trying to catch the David here, but the survivor is aware of the potential risk they're taking, so he's just moving over towards this jungle gym here, replacing some of the trials here down the ground, trying to go for the M2 here. Not going to hit so far. Great run from the survivors, but if you mentioned it, it was, well, we do need a perfect performance here, and therefore this injury is already making Essential feel great, and you can just commit to this survivor kind, and they will be in a quite rough spot here at the map corner. Meanwhile, 2 generators being completed. The distance of this M1 not too far, so this is going to be the survivor still standing around this pallet, and actually held W away from this tire. Really, really great play here.
Yeah, Owen is putting up a phenomenal chase here at the start of the game. Now, Growing Stores is a very big map, so it's gonna be difficult for the killer to catch up with the survivor's generator speed, as we have Owen taking up such a long, so much time here at the start. Just dodges one Rise of Judgment after the other. Essential will now be forced to kick this pallet, as we had already seen 2 generators pop in the distance here, and Bertuke, the captain, has already healed from the injuries that he acquired in the first tag here that Essential scored in the main building. But it seems like we're gonna see a fast down here, but no, we see Counter 8 rushing in from the right side of the screen here from our killer, and will be able to successfully tank it and postpone this first down that Essential is trying to get here, because 1 down could already spell the GG for Team Sequence here, as they only need 2 hook stages on the counter, and that would suffice. And we do see Counter 8 now going down in the middle. Essential with a very nicely placed Rise of Judgment will find that first down, and a hook very central into the map with still 2 generators to go.
Yeah, the central hook here is going to make you feel really good on the killer side, because you don't have a huge distance towards the active generators. You can kind of monitor the hooked survivor in the camp into the second stage here together with the generators. We see another one in the main building, 1 in the corner. So our survivor team has prepared a great split on these generators. Unfortunately, Counter 8 just in the center here. We do see 1 person rushing in towards the safe now, but you can't trade towards additional hang time. You do need to make sure that everyone is safe afterwards. David kinda waiting behind the boxes here, trying to lurk for the save. Our killer just keeping it chill, knowing in what kind of position he is, and just making sure that the struggle phase would come in here. So our survivor rotating back into the main building. 2 of these survivors are over there. Meanwhile, generator number 4 is being completed. So we see that Swamp is having the efficiency on point. They know they need to be quick, but unfortunately this is going to be the confirmed struggle phase for the killer of Team Sequence here. But we do have to point out how phenomenal the fight of Team Swamp was through the first 4 generators here, and really showing that even though Sequence was putting up such a great survivor game, they didn't seem too impressed.
And this is looking like a pretty close set if we do take out of consideration the phenomenal performance we had by Sequence's survivors. I recommend all of you watching to really look back at the VOD after the stream has ended, because that is really not a game anyone should miss. There's a lot to learn from that. But Owen just taking up so much of Essential's time here will, however, now unfortunately go down in the corner of the map. We see another Rise of Judgment being used and scored, and we see an Adrenaline play through the vault, but Essential is unfortunately already positioned quite close to the David, and he will be able to get the hit right through that Adrenaline. So this pick is going to be the 3rd stage for Essential here, and the survivors of Team Swamp are putting up such a fantastic performance here as well, only giving 2 stages before that last generator pops to a Pyramid Head on Groaning Stars is quite an achievement, as this killer is quite strong in chases and can be quite a pain to chase against, considering the through the wall shots that you can make as Pyramid Head. But we do see all 3 survivors escaping, and that is going to result in 5 stages for Team Sequence's killer. And with that very low win condition that the survivors of Team Sequence were able to secure in the previous game, this is going to spell out the win for Team Sequence here.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, right? You said it is quite an achievement to go for 2 stages in the mid game, pretty much 5 stages in the end game. But Swamp here against Team Sequence, because that's important to mention for the context. Sequence, this team that is absolutely smashing everything, and now you showed a very, very strong performance. And given the fact that Beyond the Stars is designed as a double elimination, for Swamp, there's a lot they can take from today for their game tomorrow and come out with a lot of confidence and with a really, really good reason tomorrow in the losers bracket to say, hey, we have the potential to come back here. However, Team Sequence, first game of the tournament, they have shown every other competitor in this event that they are really, really dangerous here, and how they are just having everything together was just really, really impressive here. Do you think that Team Sequence is going to be like really, really making other competitors worry, maybe even banning certain killers against this team from now on, because you realized today, okay, Sequence was on a little break, but it's like that never happened?
Well, before I go into Sequence, I think definitely Swamp is gonna be a feared opponent in the losers brackets here after they've just proved themselves very evidently in the Survivor set.
Yeah.
But Sequence, once again, is very much as they are also coming in as a fan favorite and a team that we have seen get extremely far in tournaments and also win a couple in the very narrow time frame that they've existed for. Even this is only a team that has existed for I think half a year or maybe even less or a bit more. I think it was last year September, November sometime. But yeah, I think this is just gonna be another good trial here for Sequence in this tournament. And we are now very close to loading into the next match here, which is going to...